perform sexual acts on him for $20. $20 is like, I don't know, 200 to 1. That's the money. So when he was asking court what he did with the money, he like went and bought sweets. This was like total exploitation and disgusting, you know? It's just beyond words. I was so happy. He got 5 years in prison. I was very happy when I heard that. Then there's lots of these children who run away from school because they don't get food to go to school. There is no breakfast, there is no lunch. So they hit the streets instead of going to school, neglected and abandoned children. They are picked up and they end up in the criminal justice system. And we have to represent them, or else they'll be sent to the detention facility called the New Opportunity Court, which is for children who have committed crimes. So then we want the probation department to go look for their parents and see that they go somewhere else other than to a detention facility, where they will find all the little, you know, budding delinquents to give them the necessary training. Then challenges, protecting women from domestic violence is a huge challenge. Because as you know, even if there's a protection order, the men could still kill them. And women are being killed at a very, very fast rate in Guyana. Maimed in all kinds of horrible ways. The dilemma of these children who nobody wants and who can't. The children from nowhere, they're going nowhere, they're from nowhere, no one wants them, they don't have owners, and they're just roaming the streets. Big problem, child prostitution in the schools because of hunger. The children go to school, and at lunchtime, they go to somebody's house for lunch and end up getting raped. You have 2 girls, one is 13, the other is 16, who were raped during lunch break at school. Because of hunger, they don't have lunch money. Paternity test for child maintenance. We have a lot of deadbeat dads who come to court and say it's not their child. Now the paternity test costs. Paternity test is very expensive in Guyana. A DNA test? Dang, that's thousands of dollars. They don't have that kind of money if they're the legal aid center. How do we pay for it? UNICEF doesn't want to pay for it. So these men get away with it. Because the magistrate says, okay, give me evidence. And then all they could say, well, I know that she was seeing him, and he said, I never saw her. It's just sad, because I could look at some of these children, or you could look at some of these children, split an image of this, all dads that are disowning them, because the women bring the children. You could see this child is this man's child, and he would go to court and disown the child, and you can't do anything about it because they can't afford the test. It's like money is such a problem. Then the re-victimization of children in court. The attorney code of conduct, what some people are doing because they're so poor, when their daughter gets raped, they settle it. That is, they refuse to let the child testify in return for $1 million. In return for $500,000. I'm like, no amount of money can give this child what has been taken away from her. She needs to see that it was wrong and that she's going to get justice. Doesn't connect. These people are willing to take the money and go to court and go in the box and say, I don't want no story. You know, that's how they speak in the vernacular. They tell the magistrate, I want no story, and then the child comes and said, he do me nothing. The case dismissed. And you know the child has been raped. So settling of cases, there's no law to fix this problem. Because of need, because of the need for money, parents are willing to just take the money and forget about the abuse. Preventing HIV after sexual violence. There's an HIV problem in the third world, and we also have it in Guyana. And so there's lots of funding from USAID and from the US government during the Bush years for HIV treatment and testing. But now that funding is being cut back. USAID is leaving Guyana next year. And the problem is, how do you prevent the transmission of sexual disease after sexual assault? There is a way of doing that. If you give this post-exposure, the PEP test, the PEP treatment, prophylaxis, right away after the abuse, within hours after the abuse, the chances of contracting the disease are greatly reduced. We want to have official policy that gives this test, this treatment to women free of charge, right away. You know, so that they wouldn't get sick. But that's a tough one. There is research that shows that women who will be treated with this PEP program right after rape, only one of the victims out of 435 contracted the disease. So it does work, but again, money is the problem. Then, so these are challenges that are still being faced. I wanted the students to know that there are 2 student vacancies on the editorial board. James Dixon has graduated, and so has Candice Folks-Hall. She has graduated. So there are 2 open vacancies on the editorial board if students are willing to do the research for the Legal Lines newsletter. And also I'm preparing a criminal justice internship for the criminal justice program. And I would like to include this as a possible alternative destination, international internship. And I'd like to know if students are interested so that I can use that to make the case. Come, you can come, please come. I can use that to make the case. Please come for the internship. So I wanted to use this opportunity to show students where Guyana is, to tell them about the Criminal Justice Agency. This agency can be a destination, an international destination for a criminal justice internship for credit. And I want to design the course that way, but I have to know if students are even willing, because I probably have to fight for it. And I won't bother, I'll just do Flint destinations if students aren't willing to, aren't interested in it. So there's a sign-up sheet for you to indicate if you're interested. And I wanted to use this opportunity to express my gratitude to the university and to the students for the generous contributions they have made, and the Office of Research for the funding these students, and funding me on 2 occasions to go to meet with UNICEF in Guyana, in order for us to achieve these objectives, because without this, they wouldn't continue funding us. I have to prepare reports every quarter. I have to have all this stuff going on the web to show them what we're doing. The newsletter, we're doing the education. Without that, UNICEF would not spend money on this program, and so many people are benefiting. So I want you to know that the people of Linden really need this help, and they are very grateful for it. And I want each student to know who's worked on this project that we respect your contribution. And we hope that you will come to Guyana on an international internship so that you could benefit from some of the hospitality of these same people that you are helping to get legal services. So I want to end on that note. Take any questions that you have. Yes.
When the funding, if the funding from UNICEF were ever to dry up, do you think that there would be a way that this legal aid center could be sustainable within Guyana itself?
Yes, we are trying to get the government to fund us. But that has been very, very hard, just because they know we're getting that money from UNICEF. And it's likely that UNICEF may not be able to fund us fully into the future, because all these crises all over the world that are involving children they have to turn to. So we're working with the government to see if we can get them to fund this, because it's really, really, really needed. And there is one in Georgetown, in the capital city. So this mining town has been totally neglected because it's far away and all those people are depressed and hopeless. And so nobody thinks they're worth bothering with. It's predominantly African Guyanese that live in this mining town. Because remember, this was the colonial town. So you have these mixed people and the descendants of Africans, and the government is East Indian dominated. And so there's a racial play there too, you know. It's like, you know, those black people are just sucking up all the resources or whatever, and they're just committing more crimes. So what we're doing is, all of this, you know, helps us to make the case, to get funding, because that's the only way this will last into the future. UNICEF isn't always going to be able to dole out the money that they've been doling out, but we're thankful for it while it lasts.
Joan, do you have connections where students can stay? You didn't mention that there was a college or university nearby. I guess there'd be one in Georgetown.
There's a University of Guyana.
Okay, yeah.
Near to Georgetown. But in this town, there is this colonial guest house. It's like nothing I've ever seen. I've been to lots of hotels. It's bigger than a 5-star. That's where the colonial people who came to work in that bauxite company, that's where they used to play. It's a whole club. It's a whole compound, right? With pool and things like rooms big like I've never seen before, you know. And I've been to lots of 5-star hotels on conferences. It's just amazing.